If you've ever taken someone down just to be picked up looting or escaping moments later, then this one's for you. Hey guys, I'm Ghost, and welcome back to Tarkov University and our continued PvP guide series. In this part 2, we're breaking down real fights that highlight the fundamentals every player needs to survive and succeed in Tarkov. You'll see how situational awareness lets you catch players before they're even ready, how proper positioning and angle control can turn a dangerous fight into a winnable one, and how smart decision making lets you take on full teams even when you're running solo. We're going to go over flanking, tempo control, adapting to enemy movement, and knowing exactly when to loot and when to stay alert. Let's get into the breakdowns and walk through every decision that can help keep you alive and put your enemies in the dirt. One last quick note before we begin. Thanks to all of you, we have now officially become a YouTube partner. Thank you so much for your support and all of your comments letting me know what guides would help you guys the most and what information you want that I may have missed in a previous video. Your continued feedback has really helped me evolve these videos since we began, and I really appreciate it. That said, if you would like to become a Ghost Operative member and support the channel, feel free to click the join button and get your badge in. As a channel member, you'll get access to those special badges which will level up over time, unique ghost emotes, and you can even get some raids in with me if you're in our Discord. Anyways, thanks again, and let's get into it. The first fight we're looking at takes place on reserve while I was trying to run some quests. I realized after spawning in that I forgot to bring painkillers, so I was headed toward the medical building to pick some up. As I was sprinting there, I saw a player run into the drop-down building, and the painkillers immediately became a second priority. I wanted that fight. I sprint toward the building as fast as I can because I want to catch him before he disappears underground. As I get close, I hear him slipping and sliding inside, so I slow down and bring my rifle up. I catch him in the door opening animation right as I close the distance so he can't respond, and I secure the kill. I head inside the building and push towards the body, but as soon as I turn the corner, I see his teammates standing in the doorway. He already has the drop on me, so all I can do is ADS as fast as I can and land the headshot. Once he's down, I start clearing the area for additional teammates. I've been running into a lot of squads lately, which is tough as a solo. But if you assume that every player has a team, you can isolate them one by one. One thing that can't be emphasized enough is to clear the area before looting. If I had just dived onto that first guy's body, the second player would have one-tapped me instantly. So looking back, the key principles to be learned from this fight are to maintain solid situational awareness, isolate team fights into 1v1s, and maintain some discipline. Do not begin looting until the area is fully cleared. The next fight we're going to look at also takes place on reserve. I was questing once again and I heard fighting out in the fields. Like a moth to a flame, I had to get involved. I pushed through the fence toward the shots, but notice how I flanked to the right instead of heading straight in. By moving this way, I ensure that nobody can push me from the right, which is the map edge, or from behind, which is where I came from. The enemy can only be ahead of me or to my left. As a solo, limiting angles of attack is huge. With a team, one player could have pushed straight while another flanked like I did. If there was a third player, they could have secured the left side as well. But if you're playing solo, you have to create these advantages yourself. I slow down as I approach the area and ADS to get ready. It's easy for a prone player to hide here, so I'm cautious. I see one player sprint over the far hill toward me, and because I'm already ADS, it's an easy kill for me. I make sure to fire a lot because the ammo and accuracy of this gun aren't great at this distance, and I expect some shots to miss. Once he's down, I reload and look for his teammates. I see bodies in the area and decide to loot since I only heard 2 gunshots earlier and haven't heard any new shots since. After looting all the bodies, I return to questing and start to head towards the RBST room. Notice how I'm still scanning because we made a ton of noise and other players could be coming into third party like how I did. This extra situational awareness pays off and I spot a guy in the tower. He hits his first shot and my return fire forces him to hide. I fall back behind a tank for some additional cover and then think about flanking. As I'm healing up, he switches positions and fires at me from the ground level, which I did not expect. Usually players who climb into the tower stay in the tower, so I respect his reposition. I notice he's using the new Marlin, and that can one-tap me to the chest, so I need to play this carefully. With this information, I reposition back behind the tank and heal up. Before returning to fight the player, I need to deal with this AI scav that's approaching, otherwise I might have some more problems. Once the AI scav is dealt with, I try to move behind the hill for some more hard cover. Notice how while I sprint up the hill, I'm bobbing my head up and down. I'm making my head a difficult target in case he's trying to line up a shooter born in heaven shot. Once I crest the hill, I advance, but he's waiting for me there. He misses his shot, but I don't, and he goes down. The key principles learned in this fight are controlling angles with smart flanking, staying ADS near danger, adapting to enemy repositioning, and using sound cues for elevated awareness. The third fight takes place on woods, so it's me working on the Shooterborn in Heaven quest this time, stacked with Tarkov Shooter. I need to kill PMCs with headshots from over 80 meters away. Everyone does these quests differently, but I like to hit a few of my favorite spots, go prone, and just chill. A prone PMC without a helmet or backpack is nearly invisible in the grass. I see a guy appear briefly on the right and disappear into the trees. Since he was headed toward me, I know he'll show again soon, so I keep scanning. When he finally stops moving, I line up the headshot and take him down. On open maps like woods or shoreline, never stand still out in the open. He ADS'd and froze, and the moment he stopped moving, the fight was over. The key principles learned in this fight are patience, scanning, and capitalizing on enemy mistakes, especially players freezing out in the open. The fourth fight we're going to look at happens on customs. I'm questing again and hear a player moving behind the train near Old Gas. I approach cautiously, listening to see if he has any teammates. I can only hear one set of footsteps, so I ADS and get ready. When I first see him, I can tell that I won't get a clean headshot due to the train, so I fire into his chest and arms. I land a ton of hits and he sprints up the hill. He decides to go for a Giga Chad sprint and jump, which lets me land more shots. My mag runs dry, and since I know he's about to swing back on me, I retreat behind the wall to reload. The guy is working on setup and a couple of his shells hit me, but that's fine. After a quick reload, I peek over the train and he hasn't committed to a big flank, so I decide to push in. I can hear how damaged his PMC is because of the voice lines. He's too injured to heal and his only option is to push. Since I hear he throws a grenade on the far side of the train to force the fight, I decide to swing and finish off the kill. The key principles to be learned from this fight are using audio cues to read enemy health and their condition. Also, while you're mid-fight, you need to manage reload timing and predict desperate pushes from injured opponents. For the fifth fight, I was marking fuel tanks for another quest. On the way to my next fuel tank, a PMC sprints across my screen. Funny enough, I didn't actually notice him first because I'm distracted by shots to my left. It's only when he doubles back do I hear him sprinting, ADS, and take him down. Because I only heard one set of footsteps and because this raid just began about 90 seconds ago, I decide to loot while the players to my left stay busy. The key principles to take away from this engagement are maintaining directional awareness of threats, reacting quickly to sudden audio cues, and recognizing when surrounding fights provide a safe looting window. The sixth fight takes place later in the same raid. I'm in the medical building looking for the 2 journals needed for the therapist quest. I heard fighting inside this building just moments before this, and as I look around I find the first floor is full of bodies. Because of these things, I need to assume someone is still camping inside one of these rooms. Knowing this guy is being as quiet as possible trying to ambush me, I need to move carefully and clear the angles all the way up to the second floor. Once I get up into the bathroom, he reveals himself with his footsteps. I can tell this guy is right next to me behind the door. Here's a quick note, you can actually shoot through these wooden doors. You'll see in a second he has a shotgun, but if he had anything better than a shotgun, he should have been dumping rounds into the door before we saw each other. Don't be afraid to wallbang wooden doors. It's an easy way to secure kills or at least weaken the enemy. Anyways, he's too close to ADS, so I just hip fire towards his head and he goes down easy peasy. The key principles to be taken away from this fight are methodical clearing, anticipating ambushes, and using environmental knowledge such as penetrable doors to your advantage. And that is your How to PvP as a Solo Guide Part 2 for Escape from Tarkov. If you found this video helpful, make sure to smash the like button and subscribe for more Tarkov content. Let me know in the comments down below about some of the fights you've been having in Tarkov 1.0. If you have more questions or are looking for squad mates to run raids with, feel free to join our Discord, a link is in the description. And as always, thanks for watching, I'm Ghost, and I'll see you in the next raid.